Hello everyone, I'm DavixStudio and this is Linux Revision Episode 1. As I said earlier, I've said that for every 6 episodes of the Linux tutorial, I will have a Linux revision video. So yeah, this is the first episode and I will have another episode when I finish the Linux tutorial episode number 12 and the pattern goes on and on. So basically, what I am going to do in the revision is simply repeat the things I've talked about in those tutorial episodes very briefly. So simply repeat and then you listen to them and then you find out what you have missed or what you have forgotten and then you just go back to those episodes and find them out. Okay? So this is the first episode, a taste of commands. Commands are executable scripts that are typed in a shell. And then I've talked about the su. Su means super user or switch user. I've also talked about sudo. Sudo means super user do or switch user do. There are some concerns with security, and sudo su will have root in your current environment, and only su will bring you root with root environments. So there's little concern with this. For security issues, you should change your passwords periodically. And then I'll talk about the PWD. PWD stands for Present Working Directory. And working directory is like what a file path is in a file explorer. The CD stands for Change Directory. And the LS stands for list. It lists the files in a directory. So the second episode, the loadable, KDE. So what is KDE? KDE is K desktop environment. And what is DE? DE is desktop environment. A desktop environment typically consists of icons, windows, toolbars, folders, wallpapers, and desktop widgets. What about other DE then? Unity, Ubuntu, that is from, and GNOME 3, Mate, LXDE, XFCE, Cinnamon, Enlightenment, etc. So why KDE? Because I think it's elegant, fast, have plenty of configuration options, many fantastic applications, it is free and has an educational aim. So why DE matters? DE is the appearance which makes you feel good or bad. And then I've talked about X Window System. X Window System is a complete graphics interface with a display server for Linux. And then I've talked about GUI. GUI, GUI, stands for Graphical User Interface. And then episode number 3, the Command Journey, Part 1. I've talked about my thoughts on learning commands. Basically, never feel you have learned a lot, stay foolish, and stay hungry. I've talked more on the LS. Basically, list more details with ls-l. List full-time format with ls:\full-time. And list the hidden files with ls-a. So I've talked about what inode number is. An inode number is an index number that stores all the information about a file except its name and its actual data. And I have some Q&A. To copy in a terminal, you press Ctrl-Shift-C. To paste, Ctrl-Shift-V. And then I have answered the question as to how to escape the space in names. To escape the space in names, you need to use quotations or backslash. And then the less command. Less is a program that lets you fill text files. Then episode number 4, pros and cons of Linux. I've summed them up into a table, so you can see a table. The advantages of Linux are more secure, useful computer skills, and free. The disadvantages of Linux are hardware compatibility, lack PC software, and challenging commands. Okay, episode number 5, the command journey part 2. I've talked about the man command in that episode. Man means menu. You can use it to fill the menu page of a command. And I've also talked about the cp command. Cp means copy. Use it to copy and paste files. And it has some useful options like cp-i, which means interactive, and cp-u, which means update. And what is /? Well, // basically means under the present directory and then the directory. And then the mv command. Mv stands for move. It has some useful options like mv-i, which means interactive, and mv-u, which means update. And then I've talked about the rm command. Rm stands for remove. Rm also has the interactive option, which is rm-i. The paste command. The paste command pastes the text of a file directly. And then I have an extra tip, which is clear. Simply type clear to have a clean terminal. So finally, episode number 6, history and how Unix was written. In 1969, Ken Thompson wrote the first Unix system in assembly language, and then in 1972, Unix was rewritten in the higher level language C programming language. And then I've talked about the differences between high and low, which means the differences between high level language and low level language. A low level language is machine language or something having a closed syntax, for example, assembly. A high level language is a language coded originally in a low level language, having fast symbols and abstractions to make itself like a human language. The first Unix available in the world is in 1975. Unix 6th edition was published in that year outside the Bell Lab. For current Unix, Unix now has a well-known, popularly used cousin, Mac OS X. For current Unix-like OS, I've talked about BSD, Berkeley software distribution. We often hear people say free BSD nowadays. Finally, I've talked about the current Linux as well. Linux is a popular Unix-like system for 2 decades. It has a lot of support, huge communities, and it also has frequent, stable updates. And that's all for the 6 episodes. And if you have something you find missing, or you know that you have forgotten something, just go back to that particular episode and check out that particular piece of information. Good luck and stay awesome. See you next time.